Dinner had never been a joyful event in the Orlando's household. The 6 of them sat around the small dining table, each one a separate island of silence. The only sound that filled the room was the soft clinking of cutlery and the muffled voices of a news anchor from the television in the corner. News about inflation, protest, and rising prices buzzed low in the background. Mr. Orlando scowled at the screen, shaking his head. Things are getting worse every day. Look at the prices. This country will drive us mad. His wife, seated beside him, let out a quiet sigh. We just have to keep going. God will make a way. Banis didn't respond. She sat across from them, earphones in, Billie Eilish humming softly into her ears. An escape, a pocket of comfort no one else understood. Her plate was barely touched. She stared at it like it had wronged her. Brad and Yael both noticed, their eyes flicking to her, but they said nothing. Not here, not now. Let me wipe the table, Happy, Yael offered gently. Happy gave a tired nod. Thanks, I'll help with the dishes. Later that night, the news still played in the background. Mr. and Mrs. Orlando were on the couch, absorbed in the routine, their faces turned with the weight of adulthood. Banis was in her room, sitting quietly on the edge of her bed, earphones still in. She wasn't really listening, just hiding. Her fingers moved absent-mindedly, scrolling through nothing. The silence she lived in wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. It pressed against her chest and sat between her ribs. She often found herself lost in thoughts, her mind drifting into the quiet spaces where pain echoed the loudest. She would lie on her bed, eyes fixed on the cracks in the ceilings, and wondered, was she too old to be feeling this much pain? Or was she simply too young to understand it fully? Sometimes it felt like the ache in her chest didn't belong to her age. Other times it felt like life had thrown her into an adulthood she hadn't asked for. At 20, she wasn't a child, but neither did she feel grown enough to carry the weight she bore daily. The fear of failing, the pressure of being strong, the silent expectation to hold her family together. She often whispered to herself, maybe this is just what being a firstborn feels like, invisible and necessary. The weight of her siblings' needs, her parents' dreams, the silence in the house when things broke, all of it settled on her like a second skin. She smiled through it. She cooked through it. She encouraged others through it. But at night, when the world turned quiet, she sat with her pain and asked the ceiling again, is this what it means to be the pillar? Morning came too fast. Brad stepped out into the crisp morning air. In his hand, he clutched a small shopping list, folded neatly by his mother, who had sent him out early for groceries. Just as he reached the gate, his father, Mr. Orlando, lowered the morning newspaper, cleared his throat, his tone low. Brad, this world isn't fair. Don't be too trusting. Think before you act. I understand, Baba, Brad said quietly, stepping outside with his thoughts heavy. Banis emerged next, holding Happy's hand and a small paper bag. Mr. Orlando's eyes landed on Happy. "You better come back with results," he said sternly. "If you fail, don't bother finishing school." Happy's shoulders stiffened. Miss Orlando walked forward and embraced her gently. "God bless you, my daughter. Don't always forget to pray. I'm praying for you." As she pulled away, she slipped something into Bunny's hand. A few folded notes pressed quickly between fingers. "Use this to get her the things I couldn't buy," she whispered. "Don't let your father know." Banis nodded silently. She understood. She always understood her assignment as a firstborn. They walked past a small mall. On the way to the bus stop, Happy paused, eyeing one of the stalls. "Some of the shoppings are still not done. I'll just survive," she murmured. Banis looked at her. "Don't worry, let's check here, even if it's a few things." She added a bit of her own savings, the little she had been holding on to for herself, and bought her sister the missing items. Happy smiled faintly, not realizing the cost. Banis watched her board the school bus. She didn't wave, just watched. Her throat tightened as the door closed. Once it pulled away, she plugged in her earphones and walked off. Exo's paper cut playing like a secret lullaby to her pain. That evening, Banis was back in the kitchen, stirring ugali while meat boiled slowly on the fire. The air was hot and heavy. Yale burst in sweaty and exhausted. "Banis, I walked all the way," she said, collapsing into a chair. "No fair again today." Banis turned, her face falling. "I'm sorry, Yale. Let me finish supper quickly." "I'm starving," Yale groaned, "but I'll wait." She changed into home clothing, pulling out her homework while Banis played Youthful by Stray Kids softly into the background. Banis wiped the kitchen counter with slow, tired motions. The soft hum of music filled the room. The gentle rhythm and heartfelt lyrics wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She didn't understand every word, but it didn't matter. There was something in the melody that understood her. Her silence, her exhaustion, her need to feel seen, even when no one was looking. Every time the chorus came on, she found herself humming along softly, as if the song was written just for her. It was her secret comfort, playing while scrubbing dishes, sweeping the floor, or cooking. In those moments, the weight on her chest felt lighter, even if just for 3 minutes. When their father came home, the house fell into its usual silence. They ate in a near silence again. Banis managed a small smile, but it never reached her eyes. That night, Banis lay on her back, earphones out. Yale was beside her, curled under a blanket. "Banis, please set an alarm for 4, okay?" she asked sleepily. "Okay, love, sleep well." Banis stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, Maybe when you're good, it's gold, she whispered into the dark. With that thought, a tear slid down her cheek. Moments later, exhaustion took over and she drifted into sleep.